Welcome back to Beyond Wisdom, where we explore timeless truths for a more peaceful and meaningful life. It's easy to feel lost today, like we're drifting through life, overwhelmed by choices, yet unsure of what really matters. But what if this feeling of being lost isn't a flaw in you, but a sign that you've drifted too far from truths our ancestors once lived by every day? In this video, we'll explore forgotten rules of living, not strict laws, but steady principles that guided ancient lives with clarity and calm. These aren't just old ideas. They're road signs from the past that can help us find our way home. Ancient people didn't need to unplug. They were already plugged into something far more lasting than our screens. The rhythm of the sun, the sound of birds returning in spring, the smell of earth after rain. Reality wasn't virtual. It was physical, lived, and sensed deeply. In traditional Japanese culture, there's a word, wabi-sabi, the quiet appreciation of imperfect, impermanent beauty. A cracked bowl, a moss-covered stone. These were not flaws. They were sacred. We've lost our connection to the natural pace of life, trading it for algorithms and updates. But when you walk through a forest without your phone, or cook a meal slowly, or sit in silence with someone you love, you're remembering, not learning something new, just returning to something true. In many ancient cultures, from Roman Stoics to Confucian scholars in China, the idea of duty was central. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, once wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." Today, we're told to chase our passions. But passion is fleeting. Duty is steady. It doesn't mean becoming a machine. It means doing the right thing even when you don't feel like it. Helping someone without being asked. Finishing what you start. Living not just for yourself, but for the people around you. When you act from duty, life becomes simpler. Not because it's easy, but because it's clear. In ancient tribal communities, a person's word was their bond. There were no long contracts or fine print, just promises. In the Lakota tradition, honor was not about bravado. It was about being trustworthy. If you said you would do something, you did it. Not to impress, but because your word reflected who you were. Today, our promises are often light. We cancel plans with a quick message, leave commitments half-finished, say yes without meaning it. But when your words are true, when you speak carefully and follow through, people begin to trust you. More importantly, you begin to trust you. The ancient Greeks believed in sophrosyne, a life of balance, self-control, and inner calm. To them, rushing wasn't a virtue. Frenzy was a kind of madness. In contrast, a wise person moved with dignity and purpose. Our culture often celebrates speed. How quickly you reply, how fast you succeed. But many of the best things in life take time. Friendships, craft, understanding. To walk instead of run is to move with intention. It's reading a real book instead of skimming headlines. It's listening to someone without planning your response. It's taking a long walk without needing a destination. When you slow down, you begin to see clearly. And when you see clearly, you stop feeling lost. In many indigenous societies, wealth wasn't measured by what you had, but by what you gave. In the Pacific Northwest, some tribes practiced the potlatch, a ceremony where leaders gave away their most prized possessions, not for status, but to show strength through generosity. This idea sounds foreign today. We're taught to gather, collect, and protect. But giving, whether time, attention, or resources, is deeply human. It reminds us that we belong to one another, that we're not here just to consume, but to contribute. When you give, not to impress, but to uplift, you return to an older way of being, one that feels surprisingly like coming home. In Buddhism, suffering is not a mistake. It's part of being alive. The Buddha didn't say life should be easy. He said life is suffering, but that we can face it wisely. The Stoics agreed. Epictetus, born a slave, taught that we can't control what happens to us, but we can choose how we respond. Today, we often see hardship as proof something has gone wrong, that we failed or taken the wrong path. But maybe suffering isn't a detour. Maybe it is the path. The crack in the pottery, the worn, threadbare cloth. These aren't imperfections. They are life speaking to us. When you accept suffering as part of the story, not the end of it, you find courage where fear once was. In ancient times, elders weren't influencers. They were guides. They didn't shout to be seen. They spoke when they had something worth saying. The Greek philosopher, Socrates, wandered the streets of Athens asking questions, not preaching. His wisdom came from humility, knowing how much he didn't know. Today, we often feel pressured to be seen, liked, followed, but attention is fleeting. Wisdom lasts. It grows slowly through experience, reflection, and honest conversations. When you seek wisdom, you start living from the inside out, not needing approval to feel worthy. That shift alone can change your whole sense of direction. Whether through rituals, prayers, or quiet reverence, ancient people lived with a sense of the sacred, not just in temples, but in daily life. Lighting a fire, harvesting crops, welcoming a child. These were not chores. They were acts of meaning. The sacred isn't always religious. It can be the quiet of morning, a handwritten letter, or the way light filters through trees. To remember the sacred is to see that not everything has to be useful to be valuable. Some things are simply meant to be honored. When you do that, even in small ways, life feels less random and more whole. You are not lost. You are simply far from the practices that once grounded our ancestors and that still live inside you. These old rules for living aren't about going back in time. They're about remembering what it means to be fully human. When you live close to what's real, speak truthfully, give generously, and honor the sacred, the fog begins to lift. Life becomes quieter, clearer, not because the world changed, but because you remembered who you are. Which of these ancient truths do you feel most drawn to, and why? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your reflections. Thanks for watching. If this video brought you value, subscribe to Beyond Wisdom. Until next time, stay calm, stay strong, and stay wise.